Sage.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Monday Live with Alan and Greg and our guest Elaine from the channel Cobalt Dragon. So, people in the chat room, you can say hello. We've got James Holder and Jess Book Girl TV.
Hey, James. Hey, Jess.
So, how's it going for you two tonight? Anything going? I know I've been chatting with Elaine, and stuff has been going on in your house, at least.
Yeah, Elaine posted she had a little flood this morning.
But it's all good now, thanks to mops and things. The kids don't have a swimming pool. Tiki's no longer stuck in the living room because she was trying to help, as cats do, and the water was coming, and she realized, I can't get through without getting my feet wet. So the bus had to come pick her up and take her to the stairs.
Of course. As long as their litter boxes aren't trapped behind the water.
No, they were upstairs, so we're all good.
All right. And we've also got Hannah from Hannah's Books.
Hey, Hannah.
Hello.
Hannah, right in the thick of it in D.C.
Right. She's about 60 miles north of me, something like that.
Now Crypto from the Codex Cantinas in Baltimore. I just found out that today because Una, they did a kind of just a catch-up video, but they mentioned Faulkner in August and all the hosts, and I really appreciated that. I mean, they only have 40,000 plus subscribers. But anyway.
Yeah. And Christopher says hi.
Hey, Christopher. Yeah, I was talking to Christopher on texting today.
Well, Hannah says, thick as pea soup right now. Oh, it is just hot and humid and miserable in this area.
Nice here in Portland.
Are you still over 100?
Let me tell you right off the bat, my knees are killing me. I did a lot of walking this weekend, and I woke up, and they were fine until I sat down and stood up. And they're fine when I walk, but when I have a hard time standing up, so I might have to stand up more often than usual even tonight.
All right.
And if you see me wiggling, well, I was busy mopping and stuff, so we all have our fun things.
Yeah, I mean, I always quote. I had this aphorism: when you wake up in the morning and feel like you've been through a football game, you know you're getting old. Tony Danza said that. Tony Danza, good. I remembered it.
Yeah, 90s in Long Island.
I'm
read by Fred. Elaine, how are you holding up? So hi, Fred.
I'm good.
All right. So Elaine, the one thing on my show that I like to ask people just to get it started is mention a book you've recently finished that you want to talk about or currently reading and want to talk about. And you can mention a few. You don't have to mention just one.
Okay. Well, I'm getting ready for my big UFO August adventures. And I really wish I had read this. Well, everything comes up in its right time. So what I'm currently working on finishing is UFOs, Myths, Conspiracies, and Realities. This is by John B. Alexander. So he was in the military. He was also involved with NIDS, if you've ever heard of Bob Bigelow or gotten into all of that. And I have to say, this has been a fascinating read because it talks about the reality of funding, the government, why some of these conspiracies really don't make a lot of sense when you piece it all together, that it's not just, oh, they're not telling us this or not telling us that. And one point that he made, which is excellent, and I tend to stay away from politicians and all that kind of stuff because it just raises my blood pressure and all of that. But like he was saying, how can people believe that for all these decades, people have kept their mouths shut when everything else in Washington, they can't leak it or get to the media fast enough to make use of it to just stir the pot or win an election type of thing? And I'm like, yeah, I've always found that part of all these people are quiet for this long. I mean, I think there's something. And when I think of UFOs, I don't think it's aliens right away. I think literally what the term says, unidentified flying object. So sometimes it could be a meteor. I mean, there's so many things we don't know about the universe and all of that type of stuff that it's not automatically the grays coming to, take a few people for experiments. So this I really enjoyed because I've also been reading about the Skinwalker Ranch and Rendlesham Forest and alien abductions. So it's fascinating to read those types of books that have needed military approval because, again, there's so many agencies and different things, but they don't cross the line with what they talk about because they can't. There's some things that are still classified. And what people tend to forget is they're classified for a reason. Some of these sites are where they have nuclear weapons and they're testing, secret planes and stuff. So you're not going to tell Jack and Jill public, hey, come on over to Area 51 and see what we got flying tonight,
I remember that, and I don't remember where I got this information from, but like the original, is it Area 51 or 54, one of those areas. The theory was that it was actually a crashed Soviet Union spy balloon. And of course, they're not going to say we got one of their spy balloons. And if someone says aliens, they go, oh, yeah, aliens.
Yeah, or Hangar 18. I've heard about Hangar 18. We're in Roswell. I like New Mexico.
Yeah.
But I like Taos. Taos has the hum, this hum that people hear and they don't know where it's coming from.
Oh, yeah, there was something
in Taos, New Mexico.
I can't remember. But it's a
I like Santa Fe. I've been through New Mexico a little bit.
New Mexico is one place I would like to visit someday. I have not been there. So, any other books you want to mention?
Those are kind of my biggies right now. Well, I finished. See, I should mention and do a plug here for Ven's Book Corner because I was doing, as well as I'm doing Book Track, but I also was doing Ven Books Corner and The Bookworm. They have Don't Die July. So it was reading horror novels.
Oh, cool.
Which meant I got to revisit Michael McDowell.
I like Michael McDowell.
Favorite horror author.
No, I can't tell which of the two books you read?
This is, Cold Moon.
I've read that one. That's a good one.
And The Amulet.
I have not read The Amulet yet.
I want to read The Elementals by him. Scott Bryant turned me on to that book, early, I don't know when, but I didn't get around to it like this May for Horror Mayhem. But
I need to get that from my library. I haven't read The Elementals, and I read these when I was a teenager. So like a week or several decades ago. Yeah. And I love them. There was a friend who recommended The Amulet. And if you really enjoy keep you going and you don't, I'm not going to spoil it, but you don't really know what it is with this amulet, but it finds its way. Get out of my water cup. Tiki's in my water cup.
Hey, Tiki.
The way that this thing makes it from person to person to person is just bizarre. So you don't really know what the deal is. And if the person who puts it into play, who's like the ultimate nasty mother-in-law you can imagine, but even she starts to realize things are getting out of control. So and I mean, his works are based in Old South. You have to remember the time period,
Yep.
how people related to each other or not. And same with Cold Moon over Babylon. You have a family of blueberry farmers, some rich kid who wants the property because he's figured out there's oil there, and his dad isn't interested in money. He's, made his money, he's content. He won't let them come drill on all his property. So his son decides to go after this family, and the lengths that he goes to. But then you have that paranormal.
I remember. I mean, I've read that book twice. Once, in the 80s.
Mm,
I was in I may have been out of high school, or I may have still been in high school. I don't remember. Still relatively young.
yeah, that's when I read them too.
And I reread it about 7 years ago on Kindle. They had a copy, and I do remember what happens after. I'm not going to mention any details.
Yeah.
Still, my favorite is the Blackwater Saga by him.
When I started, and I grew up in a small town here in Ontario, and they had, I think, the first 3 books, and that was it. So I've never finished the Blackwater series.
It's now, I have the original serial paperbacks, but you can get it on Kindle and audio and on regular paperback now. So
nice. Oh, and Alan, thank you. I figured out Libby and how to speed it up, so I may actually enjoy audiobooks.
Cool. Let's get back to that. I want to say there's some people in the chat room that I have to say hi to.
Yep.
I got to say hi to my buddy Pat.
Hey, Pat.
Buddy Lee.
Hello.
We got Constance.
Hi, Constance.
And Fred has a question.
Nice.
I have the Time Life Mysteries of the Unknown series. I have read 2, Cryptoid plus Alchemy, and I like how they are objective with the content. I guess he doesn't.
And I have the series, and look, the UFO phenomena, which is something else I've read. I love the series so far. The different ones that I've read, I've really enjoyed the information and the research. I can't speak to all of them, but I have enjoyed the UFO read for sure. And I've had the collection for probably close to 30 years, and I really need to read it. So yeah, they're great. I enjoy them.
I don't know if I ever mentioned this. I think I mentioned it somewhere. Is after I finished my freshman year at college, I got a summer job at Time Life Books.
Nice.
They had a no, not nice.
No.
It was their telemarketing department.
Oh, not so nice.
Not so nice. Where you sat in a big room, and they had like 20 other people telemarketing. You got this big list to call, just, and you had a script. At least for newbies, had a script. And I think I was there for 2 weeks, and they sold like 5 sets of books, and there's other people there who sell 20 sets in a night.
I used to be good at telemarketing. I'd sell tool in in Arizona at 5 a.m. We'd be calling New York City at 8 o'clock and talking to contractors. I was really good at it. Yelling at contractors on the phone. Yeah.
Some people are just natural born salesmen.
Yeah.
And they can do it. I couldn't do it. And they eventually let me go,
Oh. Yeah, I sold on credit cards and stuff like that. So for your protection, Mr. Montague, we're gonna get this on tape. So when you're ready, you ready? Okay, go. get your credit card information, and just it's like rolling off a log.
Mm-hmm.
No, I
His
can do
dad-
it.
20 years ago. Well,
I think I would
Father.
love that book. I have a nasty mother-in-law. By the way, you say
Hi.
sweet in the comments. It's great to see. Yes, my mother-in-law is awful. She makes Mother Dearest weak.
Oh,
Oh.
trust me, Joe in the amulet. Geez, bad.
ah, yeah. I have some talismans too. I'd have to dig them out. Talismans have like sigils on them, but for protection and for luck, I have a little alligator's foot.
Not lucky for the alligator.
Yeah, I was about to say poor alligator.
I know. I work for college football season. You'll see me wearing that.
All right. Anything else, Elaine? Or you want to go on what Alan's been reading?
We can go on.
Let's go on with Alan.
All right. Well, finished up James Baldwin's Going to Meet the Man. And for some reason, I can't pull it up on the Kindle. That was a buddy read with Aaron Facer in Wales. Then I finished a James Lee Burke, Dave Robichaux novel. I've been reading him. I met him back in Scottsdale back in the 90s. But this was a buddy read with Michael Romeo, who's a Burke fan too. And in this book, I've read with Roz, we buddy read some James Lee Burke before too. But anyway, in this book, he mentions this as a film being made. This is not a Dave Robichaux series book. It stands alone, but it's about the Civil War. So that will be good for me in Faulkner and August and, that era. So that, and then been reading this book, The Beauty of the Burst. Les Paul, Gibson Les Paul guitars. They go for a pretty penny. That's what I've been reading this week. A lot of stuff on. It's been a rough weekend, of course. So I didn't get a lot of reading done. I've been trying to, get on Justin's Discord. You're on it too, Greg, for the philosophy and that.
I've not read any of my philosophy.
I can't get into it. I mean, I've read it before even, and I have old notes and can't.
I understand. Okay, for me, I finished an audiobook a couple days ago. It's called The Hunter by Tana French.
Right.
She is an Irish crime writer.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a very unusual method of doing her series of books. And usually they're done in first person, and you have a narrator of the book, who's the main character, and then there's a secondary character. And at the end of the first book, the narrator's story, for whatever reason, comes to a conclusion. And then that secondary character narrates the next book.
Right. Now you told me I shouldn't start with the French book if I.
No, I'm getting to that to tell you
okay.
The Hunter.
Oh, all right.
So then in the second book, there's another character, the secondary, and then she drops out, and you have a third character that comes in. And what she really does well, because she's very, quote unquote, a literary author. She's not just pumping out the genre mysteries. So don't expect lots of car chases, lots of gun battles. It's all about characters, and it's all more or less realistic murder situations.
Mm.
But the great part of her is that there's one, Alan, it's called Faithful Place. It's her third book. And that's where I recommend people starting if they have never started the series. Her
Faithful
first
Place.
book is way different from a lot of her books.
You say it's Faithful Place?
Faithful Place, yeah.
Okay.
Because in that book, I won't go into the detail, but you have the main character narrating the story, and you have the detective actually looking at a murder case, and he's such a prick. You hate this character. You see him as the villain, and then I read that in the fourth book, he's going to be the narrator. And you're going, how can you make that person who's so unlikable likable?
And these take place in Dublin?
They do.
Ah, excellent.
But that's how she does. So she went through 6 books like that, you know, hopping characters.
Uh-huh.
Then she wrote a different set of books about a Chicago police officer who retires to Ireland.
Oh.
And just she's not in Dublin. It's a little town in Ireland, very small population, very rural.
Wow.
And that was the previous book called The Searcher. And again, it's not first person, it's third person, but the character sort of adopts a wayward child from the town. Not adopts it, but takes him under her wing. And this book, it picks up again, and it's all about a scam. This girl's father was absent. He ran off to make a fortune, as men who don't know how to make fortunes always run off to make fortunes.
Yeah, like Death of a Salesman.
And he comes back with another guy saying, we've heard that there's gold in these hills in Ireland.
Yeah. Why
don't you invest with us and we can help you make lots of money? So Cal is going, no, there's not gold in these hills. So it goes on from there. But the reason I love it is because about halfway through the book, a detective from Dublin is introduced into the story. And I'm going, I know who your narrator of your next book is.
Oh. Yeah, it was part of the Garda. The Garda. That's what they call the cops. Garda.
Yeah, the Garda, yeah.
Yeah.
They call them the Peelers.
The Peelers, yeah. I like who's that? Bruin. Ken Bruin writes those Jack Taylor mysteries that are brutal. Mm-hmm. Out of not Glasgow, but Galway. Not God, what? Yeah,
Galway, Scotland.
I know. I'm trying to think of where's in Ireland they have the swans. God, I'm losing it. It's they have swans.
I have no idea where their swans
are. Anyway, man, I'll think.
I liked it a lot.
I'm gonna check her out.
And then I was reading this horror novel called Devil's Creek, and I literally finished it 5 minutes before having to come down here and log on to the live stream. So, and it's got a really good setup. In 1983, there is a we'll just say a satanic cult. It's a little not quite right, but and the idea is to sacrifice all the children to the satanic god.
Oh, jeez.
But the grandparents come in and save the kids and burn this is chapter 1, so it's not a spoiler. You know, the idea is that they burn the church down and kill this satanic priest. And then it jumps forward about 30 years when all these kids are now adults. And they're starting to come back to this town. And you're learning that maybe everything in this satanic church isn't quite as dead as you think it is. Great setup. Great premise. My only issue was it could have used more character development.
What was that called again, Greg?
Devil's Creek.
Devil's Creek.
It is if you have Kindle, it's available on Kindle Unlimited.
Nope, no Kindle.
Okay, I'm just saying it's also available in paperback and audiobook, so it's available as everything that you possibly want. But overall, I enjoyed it. I think horror novels need a little more atmosphere. And I think you need to develop the characters because it's a horror novel. you know characters are going to die, right?
Pretty much.
Pretty much, it's guaranteed. And you want to feel that when a character bites the dust.
Mm.
Not just introduced. This is Joe. He was somebody's brother, and next chapter he's dead.
It's like the one Lovecraft story I read, and I wish I could remember it now. I can't think of the title, but it's an old church, and everyone's saying, "Don't go there, don't go there." But of course, he breaks through the fence.
Haunter of the Dark.
Which one?
Haunter of the Dark.
Yes.
Oh, I've not read that. I've not read that.
What's really good is that Robert Bloch wrote a sequel to that story.
Did he?
And then he wrote a second. So there's like a trilogy of stories that started by H.P. Lovecraft and developed further by Robert Bloch. And I really like that.
Got to check that out for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, because I love that story.
Yeah, Haunter of the Dark is, I remember reading that story in high school.
Oh, yeah.
And you get to that last sentence. I won't repeat the last sentence, but it's like, it really is like I was a teenager or maybe in my middle year, or whatever you call those middle years now. And I'm going like, oh, he saw that.
Tween.
I don't think they had those terms back when I was growing up.
Yeah, see, the only Lovecraft I read as a teenager was the Dunwich Horror. And I always remembered that story.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little while ago, well, months ago now, when I was at Indigo, and I found they had an H.P. Lovecraft box set. But I didn't pick it up because Dunwich Horror was the only story that I was familiar with. And then I ended up, they had the thing split apart. So I got the one book that had the Dunwich Horror, but it also had Haunter in the Dark and Cthulhu and Dagon. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I love these. I should have got the box set.
Oh, yeah, the Haunter of the Dark, dedicated to Robert Bloch. Yeah.
Oh, Robert Bloch paid it back.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll have to check him out.
I've never read that yet.
I think, hold on for 1 second, if I can find.
Yeah, we were. I just posted. We have a group on Boxer called Cthulhu's Christmas, where every December we read Lovecraft. Going on our third year.
Nice.
Yeah, this is the Tales of the Cthulhu Mythos. This is all different authors writing in the tradition of H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh. Wow.
And I said, yeah, this has Haunter of the Dark, then Shadow from the Steeple by Robert Bloch, and then Notebook Found in a Deserted House, also by Robert Bloch. This is a great collection if you can find it.
What's the name of that, Greg?
Tales of the Cthulhu Mythos. It's by H.P. Lovecraft. It may be listed as edited by August Derleth in some editions, I think.
No, check that out for sure.
Yeah,
well, I ended up reading, because I had this book and I wanted to reread Dunwich Horror. And, I'm going to have a mind fart again. Oh, let's just go on. I'll remember it later.
So let's say hi in the comments. So, hey, Vin's book
corner.
Hey, Vin.
Dad is saying I'm going to mail her that book. Ha ha. She needs a priest, Alan. Elaine, are there any TV shows related to the unknown mysteries that you enjoy?
Well, fiction would be Supernatural. I got to have me some Dean Winchester. He's easy on the eyes. But I'm not watching him in The Boys. So it's not a Jensen Ackles thing. So Supernatural, I like just the whole story, some of it got a bit kooky in the end. I liked the first few seasons better because it was more into a lot of different parts of that genre, the different creatures and all of that. In terms of not like accurate type of stuff, oh, there was one on Prime and I wish I could remember it. I think it was Haunted Mysteries, something like that. And it was 10 episodes and it was paranormal investigators and they were doing a show. And I really liked it because it was a variety of different places, but there were investigators who had been at one location for years. And personally, I think if someone's going to get something, it's by being at one location over and over and over because you get to know the sound of the building. You research the history of the place, and it's not just what's there now. When you think of how long humans have been around and everything else, there's so much history to every place. You don't have to go to Waverly Hills and all these spend $1,000, $2,000 a night for a few hours. If this stuff is real, and I think there is something to it, but it should be everywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like people.
Again, what you're saying, it should not be an isolated. Well, we'll just go with ghosts for an example.
Yeah.
If there were ghosts and you could absolutely prove that a ghost existed in this inn in England somewhere, why is that the only one that you can prove?
Mm.
Well, the idea is, like, can you even prove it? They normally can't absolutely prove it, but you'd figure there are so many people who would die under traumatic situations for ghosts that it would be very easy to prove, especially with all our modern day equipment.
Yeah, Houdini couldn't prove it.
Well, Houdini never believed in it, so he was debunking all of that.
Yeah.
But he actually set up something with his mom, and like James Randi as well was trying to. But going back to Houdini, he had a thing set up with his mom that if it were real and he was going to go to a seance psychic medium, and they had an agreement what the term would be, and it never came through. Amazing Randy, although he's passed away, but I think that $1 million is still up for grabs. That if they can prove, what's happening, or they can prove their skills, what have you, then they'll pay it out. But that's never been collected.
Yeah, the Amazing Randy has that posted in Niagara Falls. The code for that Houdini used, it was his wife, Beth, not his mother, but code was Rosabelle, answer, tell, pray, answer, look, tell, answer, tell. Was the exact.
I
I've been reading about Houdini all my life.
A video with the Amazing Randy, and I forgot the guy's name. He's the guy who said he could move like pages with his mind.
Uri Geller.
Uri Geller. And he totally caught Uri Geller out.
Ben Spoons.
Yeah, it's the other name. Geller was the spoon bender.
Yeah.
It's not Uri Geller. It's the guy who was using his breath. Like
he could to move page. Geller did a lot of things, but he was known for like bending spoons.
Okay.
Yeah. Which you can I'm glad you mentioned it because I can do it too. See, watch. You'll see it bend down as I concentrate. But,
all right.
But I know who you mean, Greg. I can't think of the name though, and he did the pages, and they finally caught him with the breath.
Right. My point is just styrofoam all the time. Okay, do it with the styrofoam. And the guys, styrofoam introduces with my magic powers or whatever. That was fun. Constance Tate Thomas French's first book haven't read the others, I will give you the same recommendation that I gave to Alan, Faithful Place.
Faithful Place.
There is a great scene in that book. I'll have to give a little bit of a background where the main character is in charge of the undercover drug squad for the Dublin police. And he was going earlier. He mentioned, he was a teenager. Just he was going to run away with his girlfriend to form a rock band in England, and then she dumped him on the night they're going to run away.
Oh,
and so he decided to join the police in revenge. Flash forward 17 years, they discover her body. She had been murdered. So he goes back to this town, or it was part of Dublin when he grew up. And the worst thing you can do when you're Irish is join the police. You're basically a traitor.
Yeah, the Garda.
The Garda, the peeler. And so he's back there. He's sitting at a pub, drinking with some of his old friends. Now, the reader knows, because it's a mystery novel, that one of the people at that table is the murderer. The narrator does not know it yet, even though he's narrating the story. So as a reader, you're reading through that scene, and they're getting drunker and drunker, and they're starting talking. So, okay, one of these people is giving you clues about why the murder happened, and you're having to go through it, and it's really well done because it's a perfect setup where the narrator has no idea what's going on, but the reader is being fed all the information that they need.
Excellent. I have a I
Flow.
wasn't going to mention it, but I do have this novel I just got from the library, a Dublin book, the one that won the Booker Prize last year. And I think Jason Harrigan recommended this when he was on the live show.
I can't remember.
Praise for Prophet Song. But I have a friend, an acquaintance who lives in Dublin. He's Irish, and I turned him onto this book without even reading it yet, and he liked it. So
Cool.
Coolio.
Bad is asking Flo, who is your favorite character in Geek Love? Did you ever read Geek Love, Elaine?
No.
I feel like I have.
It's gonna be not good for the rest of you. So I'll just say Artie is my favorite. He's detestable, but I liked him. Here's one for you, Elaine. How are you doing today? Any crafts? Oh, she's talking to Flo.
She's talking to Flo, yep.
Talking to Flo.
Haven't got back to my crafts yet. I do mostly yard work at the moment, but eventually I'll get to my crafting. Oh, well, wait. I have an answer for that. Considering you know about my basement, I'm getting back to coloring.
Okay.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I vote for that. I mean, I have some colored pencils right here.
See, perfect. I have animals and can color.
Yeah. I make my own coloring books.
Well, see, I have nice. Well, if I could do work like that, Alan, I would too, but I cheat and I do these scratch coloring pages.
Oh, those are fun.
These are awesome.
Yeah, those are really cool. Yeah, they're black, and then you scratch them off like black.
Yep.
Yeah.
You just have to scratch them off, and I've got mythical creatures, and I have mandalas as well. So when I don't want to get out all my coloring supplies, I have my little scratch and color.
Don't make me stand up. I've got a Mandela coloring book. I could get it in a second, but yeah, I haven't done any artwork in months. And a woman that works at the corner store, I don't have any examples handy. They're in my folder. She wants to pay me like $50 to draw a picture of her dog, and I've been trying.
Oh yeah, how's that going?
I've been trying, and I go, no, it sucks. Every one I do. I'm not. That's not worth it. So I've been kind of hiding from her. I don't know. Trying to catch my breath. I tell you, I don't know. I have a wee bit of anxiety sometimes, and
Mm.
but I've been keeping up with the reading, but I keep busy.
So Pat was saying Swans of Galway City, Alan?
Yeah, I was thinking about Galway. That's where Ken Bruin, his Jack, forget the last name books. He's got a series of them. They're crime fiction. Garda, he's a private detective that got kicked out of the Garda, and alcoholic. Sometimes he's on the wagon, sometimes not. They're really violent books too.
Hmm.
People getting whacked with shillelaghs and stuff all the time. But
Hello, William from William's Library.
hey, William,
Hannah or the Black Swans of Doga. How am I pronouncing that right? Dongo?
Donna, can't pronounce it either. Donegal.
Donegal.
I don't know that. I think Pat said the Black Swans are cool, or someone did.
Mhm.
Yeats poem. I love that poem.
So, Flo, I'm painting on wood right now as I listen to your show. Okay.
That's a good little coincidence.
Yeah. Well, Elaine, bad like you, awesome. I can hear you talk about books all day.
Oh, thank you.
What are you painting? I'm having dinner. Okay.
A lot of people
I'm
like
not
to
ignoring
paint.
you, Brad. You're talking slow, and I'm just letting you talk.
A lot of people like to paint old, like windowsills and old doors, like really old, weathered wood windowsills and doors. They paint them, and just for like craft project to put like a little artwork in the. Bet Flo's doing something like that.
Hmm.
Okay, here's Constance. What Lovecraft story is set in a stranded sub where the characters go nuts before one leaves to explore some ancient underwater ruins? It was great. That is The Temple.
The Temple, huh? I've not read that either.
And I remembered where I was running before. Lovecraft, I started reading the compilation that had Dunwich because I'd seen a biography about him on Prime, which was very fascinating because I really didn't know about Lovecraft or what kind of person he was. So it was an amazing show to watch. And in my last book haul, I just picked up a book about H.P. Lovecraft. So not his stories, but about him as the person that I'm really looking forward to reading.
Is it like the Man on the Mountain or what? Something about, because I had that from the library but didn't really finish it. I'm just getting to learn about Lovecraft. I know there's so much more I need to read and.
Yeah, Joshi, SJ Joshi. I can't remember his two. He's the main Lovecraft scholar. He wrote a thick biography. I Am Providence is the name of his biography, and it's like published. It was originally published in 2 volumes of like 400 pages each, so it's a big biography.
Oh wow! No, mine's just a little skinny book on H.P. Lovecraft.
The thing is, I don't think his life as a life merits a whole lot. I think he was pretty much a recluse his whole life.
I think so, yeah.
And he wrote a lot. He wrote a huge number of letters. He liked to write letters to everyone. So we have lots of knowledge of what he was thinking, and he had some problems. He had
big problems.
he was a huge racist in his youth.
Yep.
Now Michael Caton has read his later stories, and he says, I think he was softening his stance as he grew older. I have not heard anyone else talk about that. And his theory was that if your theory, like in his later books, like these monsters from outer space are just different forms of humans in outer space in different forms.
Hmm.
And yes, maybe he was rethinking that. I don't know. That's
Uh-huh.
it's it'd make a good paper if you were a student in the university.
Mhm. Now, I mentioned it to you before, Greg, that we in Portland here we have a H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival. It might even be twice a year.
Hmm.
And it's in my neighborhood, that Hollywood Theater, this really cool old theater. So I'm going to check that out. I walked past it before when it was going on the weekend, like last year, but I didn't go. But I'm going to go next time for. See,
Alan,
I want to see Reanimator.
you should. There's nothing down in Fredericksburg, Virginia, like that. We don't have any film festivals or anything interesting. What about you, Elaine, where you live? Like, you have any sort of like live arts events, film festivals?
We do, but nothing I'm really interested in going to, and especially with some of the cost of some of them, it's like,
Yeah.
no way. And I mean, we've gone to some of the music things when we have them downtown, because we have a annual fair here, and sometimes they get some good groups in, and there's a balloon festival and different things like that. I'm always jealous when I hear people talking about being able to go to their libraries and picking up like free books and regular sales, because ours only has one a year. And it's 3 days. If you go the first day, you'll find some amazing books, but you get the full price and you get jostled by all the crowds. If you wait for the third day, you can just fill up the bag for pretty much dirt cheap.
Yeah.
But by then, everything's been picked over. So
Right.
it's, and now, well, they actually, I guess, now have a store that's downtown, but there's a lot of issues in our city, as there are in many others. So yeah, I stick to the local thrift stores that are farther out of the middle of the city, because you don't have to deal with some things going in there.
Sure.
And the price is good.
So Flo says, shame on me. I've never read any Lovecraft.
Yeah,
Well,
I said, I just
Excuse
it's been a few years for me. It's only been a few years.
If you got a Kindle, they're free.
Do you have shares in Kindle, Greg?
What?
Yeah.
Shares in Kindle?
Yeah.
If she has a Kindle, she can get it for free.
We'll get you floss into the Cthulhu Christmas or Xmas group for this December.
She's painting books. Interesting.
What, she's painting
Wild
what?
Swans at Cool.
That? She's painting what?
Books.
Oh, I've heard that too. They paint like on the. Didn't Dad do some of that?
She
like
did. She did a video where she painted the.
Yeah. There's a whole
really
thing about
cool.
On Instagram.
Some samples of it. Yeah.
The Wild Swans are cool. I love that poem, Pat. You should read that. In fact, I have a prediction. I see Pat reading The Wild Swans are cool. Oh, thank you. You're welcome.
Yep. Flo got her package.
Okay, yeah. Cool, thanks.
You're bad saying it's cool to paint books. Coloring is awesome. It's so peaceful.
Agreed.
The only problem is if I tried to color, I wouldn't be able to color in the line. We'd always go outside the lines, and then I just throw it away. And
We're outside the lines. There's no rules in coloring.
Here's Fred. Elaine, how is your garden doing?
My garden is going crazy, partly because I call it my videos are called Taming the Jungle this year. Last year it was earthing my garden. This year it's Taming the Jungle. It's amazing how green and lush it is and how little I have to do, thankfully, because I really focus on perennials, and I've got goldenrod and tansy and different shrubs and daisies, and I love when nature does most of the planting for me. It'd be nice if nature would bring me tags so I knew what was coming and how high it was going to be.
To attract butterflies?
Goldenrod is for a number of the other insects, for the bees and the little red guys, ladybugs. For the
Yeah.
butterflies, I have milkweed. I have a
Oh, that.
black knight butterfly bush. They're a really deep purple flower. And that I've tried other colors, light pinks and whites, and the butterflies and the hummingbirds prefer the deep purple. And this year, between it gets insanely hot for days, and then it shifts to insanely cold where you're wearing a sweatshirt and track pants, and it's like July. Trying to get out and do some of the gardening hasn't worked because it's either raining, it's cold, and I'm like, ah! But it's doing well, and all my animals are happy. I have skunks, I have groundhogs, I have feral cats, I have birds, I have butterflies, I don't know how many species of insects. I still need to identify some, and I love it because each year we get new butterflies. And now that our feral colony, because we were involved with trap, neuter, release, so several years ago we started out with 18 cats. Not good when you have 2 bird feeders in your backyard. So we got involved with them, got most of them fixed, except for Panther and Shadow's mom. So we kind of lucked out there, or we wouldn't have had them. And another one got homes, got some of them adopted out. And now we're down to 4 females for the last few years, and they're fixed. So, and if you've seen my yard videos, you meet Lily, Panther's grandmother, and she follows me around the yard, but she has no interest in coming in. We've tried and no luck. She'll come to the door, but she doesn't want to come in. Panther's sister, because she was the second to last kitten born out in the wild. 4 years we tried to get her in, no luck, until her friend passed away. Then she ran up to me. We got to keep her inside for 4 days and had to say goodbye. She was positive for feline leukemia. She had respiratory issues. She was a sick little girl, but for 4 days, we kept her in a separate room. Panther and Xena, we didn't have Tiki yet, knew she was sick, so they kind of stayed away. And Sweet Pea is what we called her. She stayed in a separate room. And she used to sleep on me outside when I was out in the yard and that. And yeah, we tried for years to get her in. So when she agreed to come in, we're like, okay, there's something hinky
She probably knew she was sick.
She did. And her last 4 days, King should be so frickin' lucky. I tell you, she had the life of Riley. She was safe. She could sleep. She had food. She had the best 4 last days ever.
Yeah, my wife and I joke about how easy it is to be a cat in our house because
my husband and I do too.
I remember because Teddy, the cat, was a stray. And what happened was we had 2 other cats back then. One was a big orange cat that used to bully our little Tortie.
Oh.
And the Tortie was, her previous owners had her declawed.
Oh.
I don't like, but we got her when she was declawed, and
yeah,
she liked to hang out in the backyard with a fenced-in backyard, and she liked to eat her dinner in the backyard. So we had a covered porch, and I'd give her plate of cat food, and she used to eat about half her plate, and then I bring it in for the other cats to finish, and then suddenly I noticed, Katie, you're finishing your dinner. How unusual of you!
But it was.
Then I woke up one day, and there was this other cat eating her dinner, and first time he saw me, he just turned around and went right over that fence, and then he came back, and eventually I was able to bring him in. He was an unneutered male, about 1 year old. We don't know. We're pretty sure that he was adored as a kitten,
Mm.
And then he became a neutered male and started spraying inside the house. And the owners probably said no.
Mm.
But it was kind of funny because I took him to the vet and they said he's healthy, not diseased. So I called the shelter, say, I've got this stray cat. I'm going to bring in a neuter. Says, we can't bring him in right now. Just take care of him until we're ready. And so I took care of him.
You know what happened?
We're just going to neuter him, keep him inside until he's ready to adopt. And about 2 months later, they said, we got room. He's got a home.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's real
No,
animated.
what I was about to say is like he used to gobble down that wet food, every morsel, when he was a stray. And now that he's living inside, he's like 8 years old. He looks at his food sometimes and he looks at me and goes, you expect me to eat this flavor?
Yeah.
Elaine, you probably know that look.
Oh, I know that. That's why I'm shaking my head and laughing. For years, they all had their own spots to eat. Because at one time, we had a house full of 6 cats. And they all had their own spot to eat. And they ate what you put down. And life was good. And then we had a wonky time a few years ago. And then it started being kitty takeout, as in the bowl goes to them. They don't come to their eating spot. So they eat all over the place, up on their cat tree. And Panther, because we have a set of pet stairs and we've had them for years. It's like the best investment ever. Because when we had Morgan, she was getting arthritis in her back leg. So to help her get up on the couch or to the bed, we've got these pet stairs. Panther decided they're the perfect place to eat because he can stand higher, but then he also lays on them, lays under them. He pretty much uses them for everything but stairs. But yeah, they are such fussy pants. And then a while ago, my husband got, I think it's called Flavor Flora or something. It's some kind of nutrient that helps their digestive system. And we've decided to call it Kitty Crack because it doesn't matter what you feed them. If you put a bit of that on it, they'll eat any flavor that you just opened.
Is this like a churu or is it something else?
It's a powder, comes in a packet. Yeah. And Panther will be funny. And every once in a while, and Bob should know better, he'll like pretend to shake it on the food. And then Panther will sniff. And then he looks at Bob like, really? Now the powder. And Bob's like, well, it was worth a try. I'm like, no, it wasn't. Because he can smell it.
Powder.
We got ours at PetSmart.
PetSmart. What's it called again?
I think it's Flavor Flora.
Flavor Flora.
I'll send it to you on Voxer.
Okay,
I'll type the name on Voxer to you.
That'll be great. I'll give it a shot, even though my cats are spoiled enough.
Oh, mine too. There are people. 2 of our vets keep saying they're coming back in the next life as our pets. I'm like, I'm not living that long, but I appreciate the compliment.
All right. Coloring is good. People saying hi to each other. I'm sort of passing over the saying hi to each other. Yep. Constance says, Temple, thank you. Alan, you should put 200 glow stars on your ceiling. You would love that.
The only problem is I never turn out the light.
Here you go, Greg. My hubby just brought me the packet.
Oh, what is it?
Flora. It's by Purina.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's a supplement.
Fort Flora. Okay.
Not bad, but yeah, I never turn off the lights. I rarely sleep. When I do, I just kind of crash out for a few hours.
I love glow in the dark stuff. It just makes the world a better place.
Yeah.
And you should put glow in the dark stickers too.
I actually have them on. I've got a bulletin board in my room where I do my videos and other things when I actually sit at a desk instead of on the floor. And so in the daytime, that's my motivational board. I've got all like my happy sayings and fish philosophy and things. And at night, it glows in the dark. So I can't read the motivational words, but it looks awesome.
Cool.
Julio.
So Flo does have a Kindle. Check it out. You can get the complete works of H.P. Lovecraft for free or 99 cents.
Wow. I might have to get a Kindle.
Well, that's because it's public domain and anyone can print up. I actually created my own complete works of Lovecraft years before there was a Kindle.
Oh, wow.
This was when you had the Microsoft PDA, and I created a file for that. Because there was a website that had all the stories available. I just downloaded them and made it. As a computer programmer, I can do that kind of stuff. So,
nice.
Yeah, Greg's been reading Lovecraft since he was a wee lad.
6th grade.
Isn't that crazy? That explains a lot, don't it?
I guess it does.
Doesn't it?
So, Flo, Elaine, you are something special. I love that you have such a wonderful garden and that you love animals.
Oh,
Yeah, I love
thank
that
you.
too. Greg's wife is a great gardener.
She is. She has a garden. I was going to mention is my wife has we don't know if it's a groundhog or a woodchuck.
Yeah.
We're not that good at identifying those type of creatures, but she has a fan of her garden who likes what she grows, and he likes to eat her. I forgot. I think it's kale that he likes to eat. That she planted kale, and he's eaten all of her kale.
Now he has to get hers are above like ground gardens in containers, so he has to get in.
It's no problem. He just sits down and finally goes reach over and.
The amazing thing is, and I never knew groundhogs could climb, because if you've seen their feet, I mean, they've got huge claws, but they don't exactly have climbing paws. Excuse me. We had a mulberry tree years ago, and I was beginning to think I was losing it because this tree was at least 25 foot. And I saw this brown thing up in the top. And I'm like, what? It was the groundhog up there eating the mulberries. I'm like, how did it get up there? And then it came down and it walked through my composters like, ta-da! I'm like, holy crap, who knew they could climb? I had no idea. If I hadn't seen it, I would have thought it was some.
Who knows? I mean, I've seen, let me see, a turtle, a rabbit.
That's crazy. That turtle, you saw 2 of them.
In a tree?
No.
Not in the tree, just in the garden. Turtle can't.
I was going to say, wait, what?
No.
Someone crossing the road, too.
Yeah. I mean, I helped the turtle cross the road. So, you know.
That was so sweet.
Yeah, that's funny.
And Flo, thank you, Greg. It was a lovely story. Thank you. I like my Teddy, even though he's a pain in the butt when he wants to go for a walk.
Oh, bye, Hannah.
Bye, Hannah.
Oh, later, Hannah. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, Elaine, is your husband a reader? And if so, what books does he enjoy reading?
He absolutely is a reader, which is why we get along. It's great. We can spend an evening and hardly say anything. But he does not read the same thing that I do. He is a mystery reader, spy novels, that type of thing. So James Patterson, Grisham. He's read Stephen King is about the only author we kind of cross paths on because we both like reading Stephen King. I've
Grisham.
See, I've never read a Grisham, but I bought one for March Mystery Madness, so I'll have to read that next year. But So yeah, he loves reading, but he reads different things. I'm the astronomy, astrology out of the box. If it's out of there and weird, creepy, then
Geez,
I'm
I didn't
reading
know
it.
you like astrology and tarot.
Well, that,
MJ turned me on to this really good astrology app. Go ahead.
I was about to say, well, Elaine, let's get back to some books. Is there any booktube events that you're active in now or looking forward to in the coming months?
Right now, well, I've read my 2 books for Don't Die July, and Book Trek I finished, and it might be in the other room. These bins are so handy, it's just to reach them. So I did find all 10, excuse me, of the Star Trek by Alan Dean Foster.
Okay.
Found 1
Oh,
to 10, because when I found them originally, number 9 was missing. So on a little niggle, I went to the thrift store. The only one they had was log number 9. So woohoo!
Ooh, cool.
So I'm on to number 4 of the Star Trek log series. These are based on the animated series. And what
that old animated. I remember that.
Yeah, and what Alan Dean Foster did is he took the scripts from that series and then turned them into stories.
Right.
And the amazing thing is, I think it was in log 1 and the third story, because Chekhov isn't in these, and I didn't watch the animated series, but Chekhov isn't in this, at least so far, as book 4. But Walter, is it Kuing? Am I saying that right? The actor who played Chekhov,
Right.
he actually wrote one of the episodes for the animated series. And I'm like, that's cool. So yeah, Book Trek, I was hoping to, and I had all my H.G. Wells ready to go, except for Dr. Moreau, Island of Dr. Moreau. I've read it twice. It is in my brain from when I read it as a teen and reread it. I don't do animal bad things stories well, which is why I avoid some of the Stephen King books. But yeah, so I was going to get into Rocket Summer. I wanted to revisit H.G. Wells, but I have to get to my UFO books to prepare for my videos for August. So I think
I know Alan Dean Foster from this novel Midworld. I have that.
I haven't read any of his other work, so I'm interested in checking him out.
I should reread that.
I know he's written a couple. I mean, he's mostly known for his novelization. Like he's the novelization king.
Oh, is he?
He's done a lot of I mean, he did a lot of novelizations in his day.
Yes.
He wrote some of his own, and I've never read any of his original novels. I think I read the novelization of Alien. And that was back when I was in high school. So that was like, long time ago.
Well, here's an old one, Greg. Midworld.
Okay.
Yeah. What's his name? Todd the Librarian. He hasn't posted a video in probably a year, but he turned me on to this book. Always like what I find in books. I was working on a painting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
I like watercolors and like dug this one out because I'm American. I did like a series of these a few years ago. This back in 2022.
Wow.
Fascinating, huh?
Beautiful.
It's a hobby. Thanks.
Yeah.
So you like astrology too? MJ turned me on to this app that is really, I've been having fun with it for the past few days. It's not. Let me try to find what's the name of the damn app? It's really kind of complicated. I mean, it helps if you know what time you were born, and of course, the city and that for the latitude.
Latitude and longitude. Yeah, this. Let's see, and I don't have my lighting very good, but my one cube here is all astrology books.
Yeah,
and the one actually, although it's hard now because you can't throw CDs into everything, came with the CD and printed off my table.
Yeah, right. You really don't need because it does that all like automatically now. But I know what you mean. Back in the day, like Mystic Fire, I used to get cassette tapes and all kinds of, oh man, Terence McKenna stuff. But I've been reading and studying the tarot for 40 years since I was like 16, and I'm 60 now.
Nice.
Scott Bryan again. He and I used to talk about tarot quite a bit. We're planning on doing some live tarot things.
Cool.
Get paid for it, online, in person. When I lived in Scottsdale, I was really into it. We go to LA for different tarot things and societies and that. Golden Dawn.
Nice.
Yeah. So I know quite a lot about tarot, Kabbalah, astrology.
See, Kabbalah, I don't. I've been reading tarot since I was 19.
Oh, okay.
And I'm 60, just turned 60.
Huh?
Only use one deck to read for other people. And it was the deck my best friend bought me for my 19th birthday. And she specifically bought it. I use Rider Waite.
Yeah, Pamela Coleman Smith. They call it Pamela Coleman Smith deck now. But go ahead.
Yeah, so that's the only deck I've ever used because she bought it for me to do readings. And it's funny. The one psychic I knew was a scam because when I was there and she was reading for me.
I have my Rider Smith here.
Those are gorgeous. But she was reading for me. Yeah, that's the back that I have.
Yeah, I haven't had it that long, but I've had it a few decades. I have my oldest deck I've had since I was a teenager, and I thought I'd lost it, but I found it in a box from Phoenix.
Nice.
I have a lot of I make. This is one of the crafts I do, decoupage. So I make tarot boxes. Nothing's in this one currently, but this is a tarot box, and I have a lot.
Alan, that's a triangle and aren't.
Yeah.
It's more square.
I'm going to turn the light a bit. Ooh.
I have bags you put decks in. I like to say you put them in bags to put them to sleep, and you put them in these boxes for coffins.
How's that? You can kind of see me. The mystery gal.
Yeah.
So hold on. We got to say hi to Coda, your book two bestie. He's been there for a while, and we were talking, so I have not said hi. I'm sorry about that.
Might still be here.
He might still be there. All right. There's people saying hi to each other. All right. End of the comments.
Yeah, so what events are you guys doing?
What was that?
What book events are you guys doing? I talked about mine.
Yeah. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, I'm doing Garb August, Faulkner in August.
Yep, me too.
And then there's going to be, I won't announce the title yet because it's coming out, but there's going to be a art-themed reading event in September.
Yeah.
Encourage people to read books about art. And we're being rather encouraging about how we define art. We will have videos. So that sounds to be fun. And October. Oh, also in August, I am doing Classics and Company. I'm going to be hosting, help read One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich, which is the novel by Alexander Solzhenitsyn about his time in the Gulag in the Soviet Union. It's a really good book. It's about 220 pages long, depending on the translation. I first read it when I was at university. And you're sitting in one night, you're studying your books. I'll just read the first chapter of this book. Read the
Uh-huh.
second. I'm looking at my book I'm supposed to be reading for the class. No, I'm going to read this book. So it's a really engaging book about life in the gulags. So that's going to be good. October. I don't know what I'm doing in October.
October is October.
October, yeah, but that's just short stories. That's not.
Yeah. Well, you forgot in August.
I said Faulkner in August.
You did?
He did?
He did? I did say Faulkner in August.
One ear balling out the other.
Mm-hmm. And in September, Alan and I are tentatively doing a buddy read.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Let's see.
Oh.
Against the Day by Thomas Pynchon.
Yeah, I liked it so much I bought it twice. It's why I should do I did a video. I should do another one because I left some out. I have several dual copies of books. It's kind of strange.
And this is huge. This is 1,074 pages long.
Yeah.
Holy jumping.
Yeah, man. Mine's all annotated up. Mine looks like my Ulysses and stuff.
I was going to say, are you done, Ulysses? That was another chunkster.
Yeah, we got another
2
live
weeks.
show to go, but yeah, this is one of my favorite all-time books of all time. It's packed with everything I like. And it just reminds me of being a kid when I read it.
I've read it. I listened to the audiobook. What year did this come out? I forgot.
I have the audio of it too. I'll be listening to audio as I read along because I need all the help.
I forget. 2006. I listened to the audio in 2006. So
how long would that be as an audio?
40, 50 pages. 40, not 50 pages. Hours. Something.
Hours.
Like there's a lot of tarot in this book too. There's a lot of
really?
tarot. Yeah.
Cool.
Pynchon is a shite. I have to gloss over some of the stuff like I do in Ulysses, all his mathematical, scientific formula. He tends to go off in a big tangent sometimes for dozens of pages. But other than that, it's a real readable story. It's engrossing.
See, that's why I like Wells better than Verne. I enjoyed some of Verne's stories, but he's like way too Mr. It's got to be specific science. Wells was like, let's just have fun and go out in space and have aliens and stuff like that.
Well, Coda's asking, I own Light and August, and As I Lay Dying, I can commit to one Faulkner next month. Which one's good? Well, we're doing As I Lay Dying as a group next month.
Yeah, Light in August is my favorite Faulkner novel. That's
we're doing Light in August. Not Light. We're doing As I Lay Dying.
Yeah, but let me feel this one. Light in August is my favorite Faulkner novel. That's why I named the read-along Faulkner in August. But yeah, As I Lay Dying is a great end to Faulkner. So yeah, we'd love to have you. We can add you to the Voxer group if you like. Just
I just posted my Voxer.
Oh, cool.
Account. So Coda, you can ask to join the Voxer group if you send me a message to there. Yeah,
I think you'll like As I Lay Dying.
As I Lay Dying is a good introduction to Faulkner.
Indeed.
It shows a little bit of his intensity with stream of consciousness and experimentation, but it's not as complicated and hard as Sound and the Fury or Absalom.
I've never read any of him.
Light in August is, like I said, my favorite, and that's really readable too. It's really cathartic for me when I read that. How Faulkner gets me to like the main character, or the protagonist at least, Joe Christmas. He's just a devilish, evil character, and and I end up like kind of rooting for the guy. It's crazy.
I have not read that since the mid or late 80s. So
I'm going to put it up for vote for next year, but
you want to do it? Okay.
But some people, I think they want to read how do you pronounce it? The Reavers?
No, only you want to read the Reavers. No one else wants to read the Reavers.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people are hinting that they really want to read it. I've been hearing
Yeah. That's the echo chamber in your head.
My noggin, huh? Yeah.
The Reavers is his last novel, and I've never heard people say a lot of good things about it.
It's supposed to be a comedy, and Steve McQueen was in the movie.
Who cares about the movie?
Yeah, that's true. Well, if there's, Faulkner and August is a democracy, so
it is. And then the thing is, I would not mind reading that because I said it's been since late 80s, mid 80s since I've read it. But I would probably throw out The Unvanquished.
Yeah.
Or Go Down Moses.
Yeah, any of those two would be great. Brian and I, before we started Faulkner and August, we buddy read The Unvanquished. That's kind of how it started out. That's a great novel. I love the opening of that.
Well, the thing about The Unvanquished is that, and you can correct me, is that of all of his novels, it sort of pulls in from all the other novels into one story. So you really just can't go into The Unvanquished without having read other Faulkner.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair statement.
Okay.
And then Go Down Moses. There's like a little argument: is it a collection of short stories, or is it a novel, standalone novel, or what?
I have read the Bear out of that collection. That was assigned in one of my university classes to read The Bear.
It was funny. I was telling Aaron Facer when we were buddy reading James Baldwin's Going to Meet the Man. The last story in that is really brutal. I mean, it's a great story, but it's about a Peckerwood sheriff, a white sheriff, like dealing with black people, and there's a lot of N-words in it. And I was listening to the audio as well, and I'm always going, damn, my windows are open and stuff. They're going to think, hey, what's he listening to? But nobody can hear it. But when you listen to Faulkner on audio, you got to put your ear
buds in.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, so Lee Kemper is asking what happened to Shakespeare. So there's a Shake-Tember or Shake-Tube or reading Shakespeare in September.
Yeah, I always try to read some Shakespeare in September.
Yeah, I should do it. I have not committed to doing Shakespeare in September this year, but maybe I should.
Yeah, they always pick 4 different ones.
Well, my main issue with Shakespeare is he really should be watched as a drama and not necessarily read as a play. It works better.
Yeah, I've been doing that since I was a little kid with VHS tapes I'd get from the library, and I'd have the text, and I'd get drunk off my dad's bar and watch it on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love Shakespeare.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. But the way I discovered to read Shakespeare is kind of interesting. Normally, you'd have the Shakespeare text, and you have all these notes on the side, what this word means, and it just sort of distracts you from reading. And the way to read Shakespeare, I think, is as you would watch it on the stage, because the actors are not going to stop and say, "Bear bodkins." That means this. You just got to go with the flow, and that's the best way to read it, I think.
Because I remember directions in the text. That's why the interpretation of directors is so vast. They can take it and go all kinds of directions. I was a theater major as an undergrad at Kent State because I did a lot of acting in high school. Then I tried to start acting in college, but it was kind of hard. So I started trying to write scripts and that. But yeah, I used to I was a stage manager on The Tempest. It's one of my favorite Shakespeare plays. I love Merchant of Venice. I like all the tragedies, of course.
See, we had to do Shakespeare in high school here. And that's how much our system has changed too. When I went to high school, and we still had grade 13 up here then. So all 5 years we had a different Shakespeare we had to do for our English credit. I worked in the school board for 23 years. Part of it was in elementary, but the other half was high school. I never did a single Shakespeare novel in high schools when I was an employee. I'm like, how is this? That's what I think too. It's like there's so much to those stories, and I get they're old and it's old English, but it's about choices that people make and decisions and interactions in a different period.
I know. I mean, I think my favorite Shakespeare is Macbeth.
Yeah.
I like Macbeth.
I kind of like Lady Macbeth just because she's just like, you are going to kill this man.
I'm sorry, what?
You're going to kill this man, you and become king. And someone told me about a stage production of Lady Macbeth. Well, not Macbeth. And usually Lady Macbeth is presented as an older woman, you know. But in this edition, she was like mid-20s. Really beautiful. Yeah. And that scene when she comes to Macbeth, talk him into it, she walks out on the stage buck naked.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that before. That would have been a good performance. I would have liked that. I mean,
she does the whole thing completely naked, and people are going like, yeah, okay.
Now, like
again, that's like when Alan was saying about director's choices. That's not something they would have done in the original Shakespeare, of course.
Because there would have been a man.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Would have been a boy.
Now, did you see the film Macbeth with Denzel Washington and Frances McDermott as Lady Macbeth?
No.
It was good. I saw it here in the theater. I'd like to see it again. I love that the Coen brothers, you know. That was good.
I like Hamlet.
In a theater in Astoria, like down south. If I had a car, it's only like about 3 hours away from Portland, 3-4 hours away. That's what
So, Lane, you said you're on Team Hamlet, right?
I like Hamlet.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Lady Macbeth was good because I like that creepy, although Macbeth needed to grow a pair, but, you know, that's just my opinion. Yeah. But Hamlet, there was just so many other things to it. And again, comes to the choices. Ophelia, come on. So, you know, it didn't work out, but it's not worth offing yourself for. Like there's other fish in the sea, but I like Hamlet.
That's, you know, that I remember the first year I was on BookTube, there was some channel that was doing a contest. It was a guy and a girl. The man was Macbeth and the woman was Hamlet. And they said, come on, let's settle this. What team are you on? Team Hamlet or Team Macbeth? It was really kind of fun.
Huh. Yeah, I like his violent plays like
Titus Andronicus.
The what?
Titus Andronicus.
Yeah, that's a wild.
That's some people say Shakespeare did not write that play because really it's not up to his usual standard of characterization.
Elaine,
you know, just the writing is not. But I remember the character. What was his name? Aaron. If I ever did a good deed, I do repent it with my very soul. Something like that. So, Coda, I've seen your message on my Voxer. I'll respond to it once this show is done.
Oh, great. Excellent.
We got a lot of people in Faulkner in August this year, Alan.
Yeah, we do. I know. And then after Una's announcement,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Constance agrees. She likes Macbeth. Okay. We've been at this at an hour and a half. So let's start thinking of wrapping things up.
Yeah, I still have to eat.
What can I say?
The point is, I always describe this as my pub night. If
Hey.
I go out and sit in the pub and talk with my friends for a couple hours and
Yeah.
See, I should say, they didn't put the handle on this cup right, because when you're drinking it, you hold it this way, right?
Yeah.
But I guess I could hold it this way. Whoops.
What's
This
that?
way. Can you read it?
It says something fluent in sarcasm. That's a big cup, by the way.
It is. This is my coffee cup. Those little ones don't do it for me. I'd have to keep going back to the pot to refill it. But this is just water tonight, by the way. But when it's my coffee in the morning, then I have a couple of others with silly sayings. Same as my shirts. The things have got to have words on them for me. But yeah, I'll get a cup of coffee and it'll last me hours because I don't need to drink it hot. I just keep sipping.
So here's Constance recommending Ian McKellen as Macbeth and Judy Dench as Lady Macbeth.
Yeah.
Great production. I should definitely make the effort to watch some Shakespeare in September. I know the first year I did it. I have the drama. It was Richard II, Henry IV, Henry V, the two, and then Henry V. It's all the same cast. Not all the same cast, but mostly the same cast.
Oh.
I only got through Richard II and Henry IV Part 1. It was when I was moving, and so I was sort of like in a hotel room because we had no home at the point. And so I never got around the other two. So I should rewatch those. Those are really good.
Yeah, I like Othello, and I would like to play Caliban if you could ever try to tackle. Or I like Iago too. Iago from Othello. He's dastardly. Yeah. But anyway.
All right. Well, here's Constance. We'll leave this as the end. It says, thanks, Elaine. And guys, always a good time. Thank you, Constance. And thank you for everyone else in the chat room who came by to our pub night. I just wish I had a real beer to sip on with you guys, but you make do with what life really gives you.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Good night.
Have a good one.